Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, welcome. Nice to see you. We're having the summer here and you're having the winter there, right? So here's very hot and there's very cold, a little bit. You can hear me? Yes? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to ask some questions. So raise your hand and then our host will unmute you. Okay? So who knows what the Maha Mantra means, the Hare Krishna mantra? What does it mean? Who knows? Raise your hand if you know and we'll call on you. When we're chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, what are we asking from Krishna? What are we praying for? What are we asking? Who knows? Money? You're asking for money? Raghav, you want to answer? Can someone unmute Raghav or Anusha, or Raghav? Can we unmute them? Who's our unmuted? Okay, good. Yes.
I think Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think it means that Radha and Krishna together.
Yes. It's their names. It's the names of Radha and Krishna, but it actually has a meaning. It's a prayer that has a meaning. So I think Anusha wants to answer, and then Nagesh, and then Runit. So we'll call on all of you. Okay. So Anusha, you're next. Whoops.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think this means like we are praying to the Lord for service.
Yes, that's one of the meanings. What kind of service?
Devotional service.
What does that mean? I'm praying for service. What if I have too much service? Should I stop chanting?
No.
So it's a prayer for service, but especially to serve without asking anything from Krishna, but just to serve out of love. It's a prayer that we can serve without any other desire. Thank you for that. So then who is next? We have, who is next who had their hand up? Nagesh, you want to say something?
I guess Prabhu, she already said what I was going to say.
For pure devotional service, okay. And Runit, you want to say something? Yeah, Nagesh.
Huh?
Prabhuji, can I say something?
Yeah. I guess Runit will say something later. So who is next? Mitra wants to say something, and Pavitra had her hand up first. Okay.
Prabhuji, that's actually my mom's account. You can call me Rupa Manjari.
Rupa Manjari, okay. Yeah. Rupa Manjari.
So I wanted to say it's a way to communicate with Krishna. So the time you're chanting, you're basically remembering Krishna and you're basically talking to Krishna while you're chanting.
And what are you telling him?
You're telling him I want to come back to you. I'm really sorry I left you in the first place to come to the material world.
Very good. Yeah, it's a conversation, definitely. And you can tell Krishna what's ever on your heart, but to say that I'm sorry that I left, that's actually beautiful. That I want to come back to you. And another thing, we want to come back to Krishna, but there's a part of us that maybe wants to stay here. So when we're chanting, we're praying that the part of us that wants to go back, that desire becomes stronger than the desire to be here. So thank you. That's a very good answer. Rupa Manjari, that's your name? So I'm calling everybody by your parents' names, right? I think next time we do this, I have to write in your name. When you go on, you could write your own name, right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay. So who else wanted to share? Deepti and Loka. He has his hand up. And Mira wanted to say something, right? Mira, you want to say something first? Or Mira
Well,
Jr.?
yes. Yeah. Yes. Well, Hare Krishna, when you're chanting, it means that when so you're using your feet to walk to the temple and chant there. You use your hands to chant rounds. You use your mouth to sing songs for Krishna, and
Yes.
you use your hands to serve food for Krishna too. You use your eyes to look at Krishna.
Yes. So you're saying chanting means using your mouth to serve? You're also using your ears to hear. And you're also using your heart to pray. And you're also using your mind to think of Krishna. So you use a lot when you're chanting. You could also use your legs if you're walking. Thank you. So who had it? Was Deepti and Loka. You want to say something? Okay.
Hare Krishna means Hare means Radha, Krishna
Yes.
means Krishna, and Rama means Balaram.
Yes. Those are their names. That's who we're chanting to. But it has a meaning also. When you put all those names together, it has a meaning.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I don't exactly know what the meaning of the Hare Krishna mantra is, but like Rupa said, it is talking to Krishna, and that's why Prabhupada says when you chant, you shouldn't get like undisturbed, because then like it's like you're talking to someone, and then you're just getting disturbed and not talking to him. It's kind of like that.
Well, it's this is a good point, because when you're chanting, a lot of times when we're chanting, we're doing other things. And you know, it's like she said, it's like you're talking to somebody, and it's very disturbing if you're talking to someone and they're ignoring you. Have you ever had that experience? You talk to someone and they're not even listening. They're distracted. So it's the same way. We're talking to Krishna, but sometimes we get distracted, isn't it? Have you ever chanted and been thinking of something else other than chanting? Has that ever happened to you before? Yes? Raise your hand if that's happened to you. Yeah, it happens to everybody. And that's disrespectful, because it's like we're talking to someone, but at the same time we're distracted. Anusha wants to say something. Anusha or the... Yes, you want to say something? Anusha. Yes, let's hear it. What do you have to say? Okay.
Prabhu, even when we are chanting, Radha and Krishna are dancing on our tongues.
Oh, very nice. The Prabhupada said that Krishna is in his name and he's dancing on your tongue when you're chanting. How many of you knew that? Raise your hand if you knew that. Yeah. How many of you have experienced that? Anusha, do you experience that when you chant, or you just understand it? You have that experience? You can
Yes,
feel Krishna?
sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you can feel Krishna. This is I want to explain something about the Maha Mantra. That's really, really interesting and important. Did you ever have those candies where in the middle there's like chocolate or there's some syrup, and the outside it's hard, and you suck it? You have those candies in Australia? So you suck, 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 and it's different flavor, and the best part is in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So you have to suck the outside to get to the inside, right? So chanting is like that. That the more you chant, the more you'll get to the sweetness in the middle. But in the beginning, you might hear, oh, Krishna's dancing on my tongue, but you don't experience it. Maybe you don't feel like it. Maybe you fall asleep. Maybe you get bored. Maybe you get distracted. But definitely that sweetness is there. If you chant every day, then it's like licking that candy, and you're going to get closer and closer to that sweetness. And if you stop chanting, you don't chant, then it's like spitting the candy out, and you never get to experience it. So you're all young, so you can, if you start chanting every day now, then very quickly, when you're still young, you're gonna experience very special things when you chant. But if you stop, then you're not getting to the center, to the center of the candy. So that's an important point. Another point is that, like, I think it was Anusha was saying, Krishna's dancing, he's dancing on your tongue. He's dancing on your tongue when you're chanting, but you may not know it, or you may not experience it, right? But it's nice when you chant to think that Krishna's on your tongue. He's actually there. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. When you're chanting, what are you thinking about? Where does your mind going? And it maybe sometimes doesn't go to Krishna. If that's true, then you can tell us. Okay, Param and Gopika, you want to tell us where your mind goes when you chant? Where does your mind go?
Hare Krishna.
Loud.
Hare Krishna. Your mind goes to Krishna.
Your mind goes, or it's supposed to go? When you chant, what do you think about? Breakfast or Krishna?
Krishna?
You never think about breakfast? Gopika, you ever think about breakfast? Is that her name, Gopika?
Yeah, Gopika, say.
The mind goes to holy name.
Supposed to. Okay. When you're chanting, have any of you thought about breakfast while you're chanting? Has that ever happened? Or you thought about playing while you're chanting? Oh, later in the day I'm going to play. Has that ever happened? Or later in the day we're going to go somewhere? Has that ever happened to you while you chant? Or you think about what you're going to do tomorrow, or all the things you didn't do yesterday you should have done? That happens sometimes, right? Yes? Rupa Manjari wants to say something. She's dying to say something. What do you want to say?
I wanted wanted to say the way what you said, what I should have done yesterday, what I couldn't do. For that, my mom always tells me that if whatever you do, you try to do good, but at the end of the day, whatever Krishna wants is going to happen. So if you weren't supposed to do something yesterday, then you won't. But if you were supposed to do something yesterday, then you will.
So let it go.
Not
Okay.
fully, because some things are really important. Like
Yeah.
let's say let's say chanting, because you can't just say, oh, I chanted, that means I'll go back to God. That's like, you don't leave it fully. You have to try your best to actually do it. Then
Yeah, exactly.
Krishna will help you.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you for that. Mira wants to say something. She's really enthusiastic. What do you want to say, Mira? Mira.
So when I'm chanting, I feel I close my eyes and I imagine myself like I'm in the Sindhi ISKCON temple seeing Krishna.
Radha Gopinath. Nice.
Yeah.
You ever think of anything else when you chant?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. So, and Raghav, I don't know your name. She wants to say something. Yeah, you can say something.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, when you chant, your mind goes on Krishna.
Supposed to. Where does your mind go?
Where does your mind go?
Pizza, ice cream, cookies. Where does it go? Sometimes.
Krishna.
Oh, good. So, sometimes when we chant, the mind starts to wander away from Krishna. That ever happen to you? Just kind of goes away. You kind of lose it for a while. You forget while you're chanting, and you're just chanting like you ever chant like a robot? Any of you ever do that? Like your lips are moving and the mantra is moving, but your mind is somewhere else. That ever happen to you? Sometimes, right? Yeah. It even happens to older devotees. And we're supposed to be, as we were saying, the Maha Mantra means Krishna, give me service. Or we were saying the Maha Mantra means we're talking to Krishna, we're telling him what's in our heart. The Maha Mantra means many things. We're asking Krishna to help us be better devotees. But sometimes when we're chanting, what happens is we lose connection with our chanting and our mind goes somewhere because we have many things on our mind. Do you ever think of school, like your homework, what you have to do in school when you're chanting? Any of you ever do that? You're chanting in the morning and you're thinking of what you're going to do in school. Yeah, that's. And people who work, they think of what they have to do in work. And sometimes your mother chants and she thinks what she's going to make for breakfast. You're thinking what you're chanting Hare Krishna, thinking what you're going to have for breakfast. She's chanting, thinking what she's going to make for breakfast. So I want to give you something that I think will help you. So, and try to remember this because this will help you your whole life. It'll make your chanting easier, and it'll help you control your mind. So, you ever watch a movie? Of course, right? You must have seen a movie, like whatever movie it's Krishna movie, documentary, something, some Mahabharata, when you watch a movie. When you watch a movie, isn't it true that you're completely focused on the movie? You're not focused on anything else? Isn't that true? Is that true? Like, there could be a fire next door and you're watching the movie. You may not even be aware because you're so absorbed in the movie. Has that ever happened to you? You just sit down for 2 hours And it's like the whole world just stopped for 2 hours and you're watching a movie, isn't it? And you're absorbed in the movie. That's what, or a book can happen with a book, or it can happen with playing. You ever play for hours and hours and you don't realize how long you were playing? That ever happened? You were so absorbed in playing, it's just like there was like, you don't even know what's going on. And sometimes, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, sometimes you get so absorbed in playing, you forget to have lunch. That ever happened to you? You just forget to go home and have lunch. That ever happen? Raise your hand if that ever happened. Right. So that's what it's supposed to be like when you chant, that you get so absorbed, just like when you're watching a movie or playing, that everything else doesn't matter while you're chanting. Everything else just stops. So I want to help you see if you can do that. So I'm gonna give you a little guided meditation, okay? So why don't you close your eyes and we'll take you on a little meditation, take you on a little journey. And let's imagine we're going to chant, and we will chant soon. We're all going to chant together. And I'm going to help you now get ready for chanting. So I would like you to begin to imagine that your life, all the things you have to do in your life, cleaning your room, your chores around the house, your schoolwork, your practice of whatever, your instrument you're practicing, your reading, your chanting. I would like you to visualize that each activity, for each activity, you have a plug coming out of your body and the plug goes into the wall. So you have one plug for school, you have one plug for Krishna consciousness, you have one plug for playing, you have one plug for homework. Imagine you have all these plugs, all these things that you think about, and all these things that you do. And when you chant, what I would like you to do is imagine that you're pulling all the plugs out, one by one by one. You're disconnecting from, at that time, for that time you're chanting, whether it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, whatever. During that time, before you chant, I would like you to imagine that you're pulling out the plugs. You're just pulling them out. And now your life, everything you were doing in your life, it's turned off. And now all that's left in your life is just to chant. You don't need to think about anything else because everything else has been turned off. And while you're chanting, you keep everything turned off. You keep all the plugs out of the wall. Sometimes the plugs will walk themselves back into the wall. And if that happens, you pull them out. So, can you do that before you chant? Can you meditate like that? That I am going to disconnect for the next half hour or however long I chant. I'm going to disconnect. I'm not going to think about playing. I'm not going to think about breakfast. I'm not going to think about school. I'm not going to think about calling my friends. I'm not going to think about Facebook or anything or whatever you look at, Instagram or whatever. I'm not going to think about those things. I'm just going to be with Krishna, just me and Krishna only. You think you can do that before you chant? Think that's possible? You can try, right? If you can try to do this, then you're going to find it's much easier to chant. Okay, I'm going to do a little demonstration. Have you ever seen somebody chant and they look kind of like this? I will do a demonstration of what they look like. They look kind of like this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram. Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Have you ever seen anybody chant like that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you ever chant?
Yes,
Have you ever
Prabhuji.
chanted like that yourself?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
have.
So
Thanks, Prabhuji.
yeah. So have you ever seen anybody chant like this? I'll demonstrate another kind of chanting. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Have you ever seen that or ever chanted like that yourself?
Yes, Prabhuji. Brahmachari.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
I've
Okay.
seen lots of people
So-
do that.
What's the difference? What's going on?
Do myself.
What's the difference? What's
The first one, the person was very distracted and he was looking at everything and he wasn't really focused on chanting. And the second one, he was very focused on chanting.
Yeah. So the first one, he was completely aware of everything going on in his life right in front of him, right? Yes?
Yes.
And the second one, what was he? Where was he? The second one.
In the second one, he closed his eyes so he didn't get distracted.
Yeah.
He wasn't aware of anything in his life, and he was only talking to Krishna and no one else.
He
Yeah.
was only with Krishna.
And he was focused in his japa.
Okay, so I want you to remember this because sometimes you chant the first way and sometimes you chant the second way, but you're supposed to chant the second way, not the first way, right?
Prabhuji,
Yes?
because like sometimes I get just bored, sometimes just sitting in one place. Like, is it
Yeah.
okay if you get up and then just
Yeah.
walk around while doing japa?
Yeah, it's okay, but just don't walk somewhere where you'll get distracted. Like, don't go to the mall to chant japa.
Prabhuji, and like,
You know, you want to go like a nice park, you can go and chant, but just go somewhere where it's peaceful so you can not be distracted.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
like what can you do this? That like if you get a bit sleepy, like in between you can drink some water, like in the middle of the
Yeah.
night, or you can go and sprinkle some water on your face.
Yes, yes. Yeah, you don't want to chant when you're sleepy because it's difficult to focus your mind when you're tired. So you want to make sure you're not tired. But what I want you to know is like you know how when you're going to the temple, you take a bath and then you get dressed up and then you go to the temple. You don't just go in your pajamas, right?
Yeah.
Right. You're preparing, right? Because you're going to go in front of Krishna, so you're preparing. So it's the same with japa. You're going to go chant japa. Krishna is there in his holy name. And so we have to be in the right consciousness to receive him. And if we allow ourselves to just think about everything in our life, we're not receiving him properly, right? Does that make sense? So
Yes.
I want to tell you something interesting, that the deity is made of marble, or sometimes wood, or sometimes metal, sometimes stone. Even sometimes they make temporary deities out of earth or clay. But the holy name is also a deity. Did you know that? No, it's called Namarupa. Namarupa, the form of the name. And so it's made out of sound. Just like something can be made of metal or wood or stone, it can be made of sound. So it's nama rupa. It's like a deity, it's like a murti, but in the form of sound. So that means when we chant, it's like we're coming in front of the deity. Isn't that interesting? And you know, when you go to the temple, when you walk in the temple room, you don't play in the temple room, right? You play out in the, you play outside. If you're from Brisbane, then you can play next door. If you're from Sydney, you'll play in the parking lot, or you'll go across in the park. If you're in Perth, then I'm not sure where you play. In the parking
What
lot.
shall we do if you're in Melbourne?
I've never been there.
Um,
I've never been there.
in the ISKCON temple, the Matajis encourage kids to also do kirtan.
Yes. Yeah. 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 So no, but what I was saying, you might go outside and play, right? But when you go in the temple, you don't normally play in the temple. When you go in the temple, you think differently, don't you? Like when you walk in the temple and the deities are there, you kind of become more serious, right?
You give
Yeah.
obeisances to Krishna.
Yeah. Then you act differently when you're in the temple, right? So Prabhupada said that when you chant Hare Krishna, it's like Krishna coming in the form of the deity, so that we should be in the right mood to receive him. So we shouldn't just chant, but we should be in a certain mood, the proper mood to receive him, just like you would receive the deities. So,
Prabhuji?
yes, you understand? Wait, before you ask. You understand?
Yes.
You understand? You understand? Okay, question. Who asked the question?
My name is Drew. I was just asking, what is the name of the holy name deity?
Nama Rupa, the form of the name. Nama Rupa, the form of the name. Yeah. So, so when you're chanting, there's a couple of things that I think will really help you. They're really important. That you remember that now Krishna is there with you, and this is your time to be with Krishna. And so during this time, you want to prepare yourself to stop everything that's going on and stop everything in your mind that would distract you and just be with Krishna. That's very, very important. If you do that, your chanting automatically will get better. And if you do that, you'll like chanting more because you'll get more out of it. So would you like to try that? Would you like to try to do that now? We can chant a little bit. And what I'd like you to do is prepare yourself. Okay? So you remember that example, you remember? Where you pull out all the plugs in your life? You remember that example? So right now, I would like you to just see, it's Saturday morning. There's so many things you're going to do today. But right now, I don't want you to think about those things. Or maybe you had some problems yesterday. I don't want you to think about those things. I don't want you to think about breakfast. If you haven't had breakfast yet, I just want you to think that now I'm communicating with Krishna. And I'm going to be asking Krishna, Krishna, please help me become a pure devotee. Please help me develop love for you. That's the only thing that should be in our heart right now. Can we do it? Can we chant like that? Okay, so let's try. So before you chant, just pull all the plugs out, detach yourself, okay? And I want you just to be you and Krishna. Everything else in your life, you turn it off. And if anything comes up in your mind, just avoid it. Don't give it any attention. Okay? Let's see if we can do it. And we'll chant for a little bit, and then we'll discuss how it went. Okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Okay, so you can stop now. And I want to ask you a question about your japa now. If you could, any of you could volunteer to describe how your chanting was, and if that exercise helped you, or did you find it difficult? Manja, what do you want to say?
I did do the plugging the things out before chanting, and then while chanting I did have some thoughts, but then I tried to remove them, and if I couldn't, then I just like stopped in the middle, and then I said like Krishna's name and tried to remember the deities, and then it did work.
Okay, good. So you understand that real chanting means that we're just present with Krishna. That's real chanting. There's nothing else is going on. That's good. And I think Mary, you wanted to say something? And then Vrinda.
So I focused.
Okay.
I could focus because I thought that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in front of me and I was chanting in front of him.
Nice, beautiful. You do that always when you chant, or just this time?
I do it always.
Good. Yeah. And you don't think of other things when you chant?
I can't hear you.
You don't think of other things when you chant?
Sometimes.
Yeah. So, if you practice before you begin chanting to try to move all these other things out, it's easier than trying to move them out while you're chanting. So, yeah, that's important. Okay, who else wants to share?
Enjoy.
Shudipta. Shudipta? Wants to share? Yeah. Unmute.
Prabhuji, when I was chanting, I closed my eyes. In the beginning, I didn't close my eyes and I was chanting and I didn't really get focus. Then I tried closing my eyes and that actually helped me focus. And I said the holy name really loud, and it helped me concentrate on what I was doing, and no distractions really appeared to me.
So you notice the difference when you're chanting and you're focused from when you're chanting and not focused? You notice how you feel differently?
When I usually chant, I used to feel really different because in the weekdays, I always used to sit in a place and sometimes I used to feel really sleepy. But now I felt a bit active because I was saying the holy name a bit louder and closing my eyes and meditating upon this.
Okay, very good. Very good. Yeah, you do whatever you can do to help you. That's good. We want to try to be absorbed. That's the challenge. Okay, we have some others who want to share. Let's give someone their first time who hasn't spoken yet. Gaurangi. But we can't see you. Can you sit up taller?
I could think that Lord Krishna's lotus feet were upon my head and I could concentrate more.
Nice. That's beautiful. Yeah, very good. Okay, so Anusha and then Deepti. You can come after Anusha. Okay, Anusha is going to share.
So when I was chanting, like normally it doesn't make me focus because I look at other things and play with my left hand. But this time, because I was like concentrating and like when you explained that we have to unplug everything, that time
Yeah.
when I imagined that and did that, it helped me a lot.
Good, good. So you think you can do that every day when you chant?
Yes,
At least
Prabhu.
you should try. And then your chanting experience will be better. And you'll like to chant more. Chanting is not a punishment. Chanting is a pleasure. It's supposed to be. Okay. We have someone new. Krishna Das wants to share. What was your experience?
Prabhuji, it was, I had never chanted like this. You told us to unplug everything, like our homework, our school, everything. So I did that, and this was an experience that I've never experienced
Oh,
from
wonderful.
from the time that I chanted. First time I
Fantastic.
chanted. This was a
Fantastic.
new experience for me, but it was really nice, and I could do my chanting really focused. I used to try to make
Fantastic.
my chanting very focused before, but I couldn't. But this trick helped me a lot.
This is easy. Okay. I'm going to ask Nagesh. Nagesh really wants to say something. And I was only on the first page, so I wasn't seeing everybody. So, Nagesh, you want to say something, right? And then, yes?
Should we think about Krishna when we are chanting?
You are Krishna, or you pray to Krishna to become a better devotee? Or you ask Krishna to help you in some way? There's many things you can think about.
Should I
My
imagine
dear,
myself with Krishna?
my dear Krishna, please help me. Please purify me. Please uplift me. Please make me a better devotee. All these things you can pray for. Or you can think of Krishna, what he looks like as pastimes, if you're able to do that. Okay, who else wants to share? Sneha Bhakti, your son, right? He wants to share.
Yeah, I have a question.
I have a question. If Krishna didn't have a heart and we can talk to him the whole time, why do we need to chant?
Because chanting is the fastest, most powerful way to develop love for Krishna. So you can talk to Krishna in your heart, but that's not necessarily going to help you develop love very quickly. But chanting will purify you, so it will bring that love out very fast. It's very, very powerful.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
it's Dipti speaking. It's
Okay.
just that sometimes, most of the time, when I chant, I normally don't unplug and stuff. But for me, it was a bit more easier because actually I had a bit more like peace and quiet, because normally when I'll be chanting, I'll be in my living room and my mom and dad will be talking about something, and then I won't be able to because I'll be
Concentrate. Yeah.
yeah. So it was
Well,
really good.
this is a good point also, because when you chant, you should chant in a place where you won't be distracted. So if you're chanting and other people are doing things and talking, then it's better you go somewhere else, because you'll be distracted by that. And it'll be hard to concentrate. Right? So that's important. So, Keshini, yeah, and Guya, you want to say something? Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. My name's Guhanesh, and I was gonna ask, can we do kirtan instead of japa all the time?
Do both. But Prabhupada, when he initiated everyone, he said 16 rounds minimum. So, Japa, you see, Japa is just you and Krishna. Kirtan is you, Krishna, and everybody else.
Yeah.
And the advantage of japa is that every day you can do it, like 4 rounds or 1 round or 8 or 16. You make that vow, you can do it. With kirtan, you need other people.
Yeah.
So you can't. So they go together. Your kirtan helps your japa helps your kirtan. But when Prabhupada initiated us, he didn't give us a minimum kirtan, but he gave us a minimum of japa.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's said that when you chant japa out loud, it's also kirtan. So, but it's interesting because Prabhupada thousands of times said you should chant 16 rounds every day. He emphasized that.
Yeah.
Of course, kirtan is always emphasized, but he emphasized 16 rounds every day. Like that has to be done. No matter what else, do that minimum.
Okay.
So it's very important. So if you can learn to like it, because I know a lot of devotees like kirtan, but they don't like japa that much. But think in japa, it's you and Krishna. It's very private, personal, intimate. That's very special. So if you can think like that, you hopefully can relish it more.
Yes, Prabhu.
As much as you like kirtan, yeah. Okay,
Prabhuji,
Nagesh. Nagesh, you want to say something? He wants to say something always, but you have to. Okay, we can hear you.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Cause
Okay.
when Jayapataka Maharaj was shouting, he always chants out loud, and Prabhupada was very happy with him. But then when you say your Gayatri mantra, you say it mentally. So which way do you think of chanting is better, mentally or out loud?
It depends on the devotee. So you can chant anyway. You can chant quietly or loudly. Whatever inspires you and whatever helps you, then that's the way you can chant. So just like the one girl was saying when she chants loudly, or was it Anusha that you said that? Somebody said when I chant loudly, it woke me up. Not Anusha. Yeah. So it depends. Either way is good. Just because when you chant Gayatri, you have to chant Gayatri mantra quietly or silently. And you have to chant it at sunrise, noon, and sunset. Those are the rules. And you have to be initiated as a Brahmin. And when you chant it, you have to be clean. But to chant Hare Krishna, you don't have those rules. You could chant loudly, quietly, sitting down, walking. So that's the idea. But the main rule is to be hearing and focused. Okay? So if you like to chant quietly, that's okay. If you like to chant loudly, it's okay. Is that all right, Nagesh? Do you have one more question? Last question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I've got a question. Why is Krishna blue?
Because he wants to be.
Why
That's
is Krishna blue?
Because he likes blue. And if you're God, you can be any way you want. So everything Krishna does is because he wants to. Because he's God, so he can do whatever he wants. So I'm going to go scroll down and see if anyone else has a question. I'm on page 2, because there's a lot of you. Yes. Mira? Is that how you pronounce it? I have a question.
Mira.
Mira. Mirabai.
Yeah. So I don't have a question, but my experience when I'm chanting is after I've unplugged and everything, what I think about is the pastimes of Krishna and how they happen, especially like Thalia when he's dancing on the heads and the hoods of how he does that and how his footprints are on their heads. Something like that intricate and so adventurous sometimes intrigues me when I'm chanting.
And that's fantastic. Wonderful. Perfect. Of course, you can't think like that if you're thinking about all the things you have to do, right? But if you can detach from your life while you chant, then you can have an amazing experiences while you're chanting. That can give you so much happiness and satisfaction. So how long is this class scheduled for? Who knows?
Just on time, Prabhuji. Yeah.
What's that?
An hour.
An hour.
1 hour. Okay,
Yeah.
we finished.
Yeah,
The hour's up.
Yes, yeah.
And if we so
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for taking this time out for all of us. And there are a
yes.
few kids who would like to say something to you.
Okay, let them say. All right.
Do we have Vraj over here? Vraj?
Yes, sorry.
Rajesh, yeah.
Hare Krishna Mahatma Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to your
Where are
grace.
you? I can't see you. What page are you on? I have to find you.
Vraj. I'm not sure what page I'm on.
Prabhuji, he's on page 1.
It's on page 1. Usually when you start talking, you come to page 1. All right. Where is he? Anyway, keep talking.
Hari Bol. Sorry, I was meant to say this at the start, but then we began Kirtan. We're honored to have such an esteemed senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada, such as yourself, here to speak with us. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to speak with us. Prabhu,
you're welcome. Yes.
Thank you so much for this enlightening lecture.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Nice to be with you.
Almost throughout the lecture, I related to almost everything you were saying. Because almost every time I chant, it seems as though anything and everything under the sun comes to mind, except for Krishna.
Yes.
And
everything but Krishna.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah.
I think all these strategies and techniques you taught us would really help me a lot.
Yeah.
Mahatma Prabhu,
Right.
on behalf of Gopal's glorious gang, we would like to extend our gratitude towards you. Thank you.
Gopal's glorious gang, Ki Jai.
Yep. Very well.
Okay, so we're going to do this every month. Is that the plan?
There's someone else, Prabhu, who would like to say something as well.
Okay.
We have got. Do we have Taravali from Melbourne?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Today I really learned a lot and my faith of chanting has increased. Thank you so much for taking your time for us. Hare Bol.
You're welcome. Oranga, my pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, Mahatma Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Nice to see all of you.
Yeah, likewise. We would love you to visit us again after all this COVID and everything is over. Thank you so much for your
for
time.
sure. Yeah. Australia is one of my favorite places.
We wish you were stuck here during COVID. We could have had.
That's right. Yeah.
I would be happy to be stuck there. Krishna, let me come back here. But we'll come. Is the plan? Are we planning to do this every month, or what's the plan?
That'd be nice. That would be really nice.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yes.
If the kids want, I'm doing another one tomorrow in America. Tomorrow, but I think, what time is it for you now?
9. It's 10 o'clock now.
10
10, yeah.
10
So I'm
a.m.
doing one tomorrow, but that would be midnight for you. So
Yes.
Yeah, that won't work. Yeah. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Sakira Das here.
Haribol Prabhu. Jai. I can't see your lotus. I can't see your lotus face.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
You're welcome. So, okay, before I go, I'm going to beg charity. So I want you all to chant. To give in charity to me, I want you to all chant good rounds every day. That's how you can pay me back. Right? You chant. What I taught you, you apply it every day, and that's how you pay me back. Okay? Is that fair? That's it. Rupa Manjari is dying. She's dying to say something. Rupa Manjari, you can say something.
How the Prabhuji and Mataji were like, and you said if every month, and could we like have it on pastimes? how to
You want to hear Krishna's pastimes, yeah.
how to really relish Prabhupada's books that he's written.
Oh, yeah, that's another class. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. I don't know if you know this, but Prabhupada said his books are like food for the soul. And if you don't read his books, you will spiritually be dead. You will die spiritually if you don't read his books. Did you know he said that?
Yes.
He said, just like we eat grains to keep the body strong, we have to hear about Krishna to keep the soul strong. If we don't, we'll become spiritually weak. So Prabhupada's books are like a food for our soul. So you should all study them. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't he also say if you like at the time of or like before that, I might be not I will not be here in my Bapu form in a few days, but if you really love me then read my books, because that's my Vani form. Didn't
Yeah,
he
if
say
you want to
that?
know, if you want to know me, read my books.
Yeah.
Prabhupada said that. Yeah. And then one time, you know the story. One man said, "Well, who is going to run the Hare Krishna movement when you die?" And Prabhupada said, "I'll never die. I live forever in my books." I'll tell you a nice story. You'll like this story because most of you, or maybe all of you, never saw Prabhupada. And so, you know, you probably think, oh, I wish I would have seen Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was in Australia. But some of you were alive when Prabhupada was in Australia. But most of you were alive in your last life when he was in Australia. Anyway, so what was I saying? I completely forgot what I was saying. What did I say before? I was going to tell you a story.
Of Prabhupada.
Most of us have not seen Prabhupada.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So a devotee, he said something beautiful. He said that after Prabhupada left, for about 7 years, I used to say, Prabhupada said, or Prabhupada did, or Prabhupada was. He said that after 7 years, I realized that Prabhupada is still with us. So I started saying Prabhupada says, Prabhupada does. And that's a beautiful way of thinking, that Prabhupada is here in his instructions. He's present. So instead of saying he said, say he says. He never left. He's always here. And so all of you get to be with Prabhupada through his books. So fortunate. Okay, so I'm going to go. It's late at night for me now.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mahatma Prabhuji. Thank you, Mahatma Prabhu. Thank you. Hare
See
Krishna.
you again next time.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to all of you.
Thank you.
Nice to
Thank
see you all.
you.